They built entire wars around this idea. Kings died for it, generals wrote it in blood, and yet you slept through it. You lay beneath the comfort of soft illusions, while minds sharper than yours carved empires out of silence. You dreamt of peace, but peace was never real. It was the pause between strikes. Somewhere someone studied your every weakness, your patterns, your hesitation, and realized something terrifying. You'd rather be comfortable than powerful. That was the day they won without firing a single bullet. You've been taught to believe that betrayal happens in moments. One stab, one lie, one fall. But betrayal begins long before that. It starts when you silence the voice that tells you to move, when you trade hunger for convenience, and when you convince yourself that waiting is strategy. You were not defeated by enemies. You were defeated by your own softness. The world is not cruel. It's calculating. It rewards those who act while others think. It protects the quiet predator hidden among the sheep who complain about the wolves. There was a time when humans were hunters, patient, alert, unforgiving. Now you scroll. You pray for chances that used to be taken by force. You post quotes about strength to disguise fear. You speak like a soldier, but live like prey. You have forgotten the oldest truth written into your DNA. Survival has never belonged to the kind or the kind-hearted. It belongs to the prepared. And preparation demands blood, sacrifice, and silence. You think no one sees your cracks, but the world studies them. Every hesitation, every delayed decision, every unspoken dream becomes currency for someone else's rise. You don't lose your life in one moment. You leak it through 1,000 small comforts. Every time you hit snooze, every time you say, maybe later, every time you protect your peace instead of sharpening your edge. Weakness doesn't explode, it decays, slowly, quietly, until one day, you can't recognize the person in the mirror because the fighter you were meant to become has been buried under convenience. There's a reason power feels distant. It's not kept from you. It's hidden behind pain, rejection, and the kind of silence you keep running from. That's where the builders of empires lived, in the dark, in discomfort, in isolation so deep it rewired their souls. They didn't ask to be ready. They decided to be dangerous. They understood that fear was not the enemy. It was the invitation, the signal. The moment you feel afraid, that's the battlefield calling your name. And you've been running from it all your life. You hide behind purpose, behind kindness, behind logic. But underneath all that reasoning is the truth you can't bury anymore. You are afraid of your own power. You sense it at night, in that moment before sleep, when the mind whispers what you could become if you stopped doubting and started deciding. That whisper is not delusion, it's memory. The memory of what your bloodline once was. Every generation before you fought invisible wars, wars of mind, of loyalty, of control. The idea that built them all was simple: control perception, and you control reality. Control emotion, and you win before the battle starts. They understood the code of survival. Whoever feels less rules more. Whoever waits owns time. Whoever learns silence owns the room. So here you are, standing in the ruins of your comfort, hearing the truth you were never meant to hear. They built entire wars around this idea. Now it's your turn to use it. Comfort kills, silence wins, weakness bleeds. Weakness doesn't begin with failure. It begins with comfort, small, quiet moments when you let your mind sit still instead of sharpen. You tell yourself you're resting, but rest becomes rot. The world doesn't come for you with a knife. It comes with convenience, with soft chairs, with gentle approval. You start choosing peace over progress, applause over achievement, sleep over struggle. And while you cradle your comfort, someone else sharpens their hunger in the dark. You think you're surviving, but what you're doing is surrendering, slowly, beautifully, without a sound. Weakness grows like mold where light doesn't reach. It feeds on the warmth of easy choices. Every time you avoid confrontation, it grows. Every time you stay silent when you should have spoken, it roots deeper. You trade your power for belonging, your fire for validation, and soon, you become addicted to their approval, desperate for the nod, the like, the smile that tells you you're enough. But you were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be remembered. Weakness doesn't announce itself. It whispers in the language of excuses. You've done enough today. You deserve a break. They'll understand. But no one understands weakness. They use it, you see. The anatomy of weakness is not physical. It's psychological. It's how they train your instincts to betray you, how they make you question your edge. They give you comfort so you forget control. They teach you empathy without boundaries, compassion without defense. You become soft where you should have been strategic. You become loyal to those who would never bleed for you. Weakness is taught by systems, by teachers, by the people who fear what you could become if you ever stopped needing them. Every empire that fell started with too much comfort and too little fear. You are no different. They want your energy predictable, your rebellion pacified. So they give you distractions dressed as dreams. They turn ambition into entertainment, pain into performance. You scroll, you compare, you shrink. You learn to beg for digital validation instead of fighting for real respect. You watch the world through screens until you forget you were born to move through it. Weakness is obedience disguised as self-care. It's the slow death that feels like safety. You weren't built for this kind of silence. You were built to be the storm they whisper about when the lights go out. Weakness is born in the space between what you feel and what you do. You feel the pull, that ancient instinct calling you to hunt, to rise, to dominate the chaos, but you smother it. You confuse peace with surrender. You confuse humility with fear. You confuse kindness with permission. And that's how the world wins, not by fighting you, but by convincing you that fighting is wrong. They don't chain your body. They cage your will. The lock is made of comfort and the key is pain. But beneath it all, buried under the layers of submission, the weapon still hums. Your instincts remember what your habits forgot. You can feel it sometimes, that flicker behind the ribs, the part of you that doesn't want calm, that doesn't crave safety, that watches the world like a strategist scanning for weakness. That's the part they've been trying to kill, because if it ever wakes up fully, if you ever remember what you are, patient, silent, calculating, you'll stop asking for permission to exist. They call it weakness because they fear what happens when you finally reject it. And when that moment comes, when you stop playing their game and start building your own, you'll understand the cruelest truth of all. They never feared your failure. They feared your focus. They built the trap long before you were born. A perfect illusion of freedom, wrapped in screens, applause, and promises of peace. You were taught to chase comfort like it was safety. You were rewarded for being predictable, praised for being agreeable, and punished when you moved in silence. They called it society. They called it balance. But it was never that. It was design. They needed you obedient enough to follow the current, but ambitious enough to produce value. So they fed you the lie that comfort was success, that loyalty was virtue, and that patience without strategy was peace. You swallowed it whole because everyone around you did too, and collective weakness feels like belonging. Every system runs on control, and control runs on predictability. They read your routines like scripture. They know when you'll wake, what you'll fear, and when you'll break. The job you hate, the approval you chase, the noise you can't turn off. None of it was accidental. It's not chains on your wrists anymore. It's data, it's dopamine, it's the illusion of choice. You scroll, you consume, you follow. Not because you want to, but because they made rebellion feel exhausting. You've mistaken sedation for peace. The cage has no walls anymore. It's made of comfort and invisible praise. You were never taught to think, only to perform. Smile here, agree there, stay small, stay polite. They tell you be yourself, but only if yourself fits their template. Speak truth and you're punished. Speak lies and you're promoted. Every ladder is built to make you climb in circles. They sell rebellion as fashion, authenticity as brand. The wolves are dressed in patience now. They wait while you destroy yourself chasing validation that was designed to evaporate. The system doesn't fear your anger. It fears your clarity. Anger can be redirected, clarity cannot. There's a reason loyalty is praised louder than awareness. Blind loyalty is the most profitable form of slavery. They call it teamwork, family, community. But look closely, you give, they take. You bleed, they brand it virtue. You lose, they call it experience. They need you emotionally invested in your own submission. Every compliment you get for being reliable is a chain with a smile carved into it. And when you finally question it, they call you cold, distant, arrogant. Anything to make you doubt the awakening. Because once you see the strings, the puppeteer loses power. Every betrayal you've ever endured was a lesson, not from them, but from the system itself. To trust too easily is to hand over your map. To seek comfort in approval is to forget you have teeth. The weak crave acceptance, the strong create absence. That's why the powerful move in silence, because silence terrifies the predictable. In a world addicted to noise, your quiet becomes a threat. And that's the paradox. They never wanted you to learn. The less you explain, the more they project, the more they project, the more they reveal themselves. Now you begin to understand the real war, not fought with weapons, but with attention. Every scroll, every argument, every like is a drip of energy extracted from your focus. They drain your intensity so you never weaponize. But you've felt it, haven't you? That pulse behind your calm. That moment before sleep when the mind whispers, there's more. That's not anxiety. That's memory. The memory of what you were before they numbed you with comfort. You are not broken. You are bound. But chains made of comfort are the hardest to see. And once you see them, the trap loses its architect. They built the world to keep you asleep. But you just flinched awake. You learned too late that chaos feeds on noise. Every mistake you made was loud. Every reaction, every defense, every desperate explanation echoing through rooms that were never meant to understand you. You were easy to read, easy to move. They studied your tone, your pulse, your guilt, until you became predictable. That was the moment they owned you, when your emotions became coordinates, when your words became ammunition. The weak try to shout their worth into existence. The powerful disappear and make the silence do the talking. Now you turn everything in reverse. You stop announcing your pain. You stop advertising your progress. You begin to vanish deliberately, not from life, but from visibility. Your silence becomes an operation. Every unanswered message becomes a test of endurance. Every withheld opinion becomes a knife only you can see. You learn that patience isn't the absence of motion. It's the art of concealed velocity. They call you distant. They call you cold. They're right. You're ice forming quietly under their feet. You start to observe instead of react. You let others speak, and you catalog their patterns, their lies, their habits, their vanity. You see how quickly people reveal themselves when they think you're harmless. The more you withhold, the more they perform. Their egos write your intelligence reports. You realize silence isn't emptiness, it's compression. Every unspoken thought gathers pressure until it can shatter walls. You become a strategist inside your own life, no longer seeking comfort but control. Patience sharpens your hunger. You stop chasing speed and start mastering timing. You watch people rush toward applause while you remain still, calculating the long game. You wait for fatigue to weaken them, for greed to expose them. When you move, it's surgical, one motion, no hesitation, and they never see it coming, because you trained them to believe you were still asleep. The world mistakes stillness for surrender, but that's because it fears people who think before striking. You learn unpredictability next. You stop following the rhythms that made you readable. You don't show up the same way twice. One day you're warmth, the next you're winter. You stop broadcasting your rituals, stop leaving patterns behind for scavengers to study. Predictability is the currency of the controlled. The unpredictable are never betrayed. They're only speculated about, and speculation is the most efficient disguise. You discover that restraint is not weakness, it's the highest form of dominance. To have the power to destroy and choose not to, that's sovereignty. You start denying people access to your reactions, your certainty, your rhythm. You answer less, you reveal nothing. They grow uncomfortable in the space you've created because silence mirrors them back to themselves, and most can't stand what they see. You understand now why predators move slow. Speed exposes intent. Everything that used to drain you, betrayal, rejection, doubt, turns into study material. You stop bleeding over lessons that were meant to harden you. You start writing your pain in invisible ink, storing it as data, not drama. Each scar becomes a signature of intelligence. You become a fortress, no walls, just absence. They'll call it arrogance. You'll call it evolution. You are no longer a participant in their noise. You've become something rarer, a presence that unnerves simply by existing. The counterattack was never about revenge. It was about precision. It was about taking everything that broke you and refining it into something that can't be touched again. Silence is now your blade, patience your ambush, unpredictability your camouflage. You're not fighting the world anymore. You're studying it, waiting for the exact moment to remind it why it should have never underestimated the quiet one. Pain isn't random. It's the oldest teacher in existence, older than words, older than gods. Before man built fire, he learned from pain. and yet you've spent your life running from it, covering it with noise, pretending endurance is the same as transformation. But pain doesn't just test you, it introduces you to the parts of yourself that comfort buried. Every betrayal, every rejection, every loss that left you shaking, they weren't punishments, they were mirrors, each scar a map drawn by survival. You keep staring at the wound, never realizing it's the wound that's been staring back, asking if you've learned what it was sent to teach. Pain sharpens. It strips away illusions the way heat burns impurities from metal. Every time you broke, something soft melted off, and something harder emerged, not cruel, just calibrated. The weak mistake numbness for strength, the strong understand pain as language. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? That shift, that single question is the birth of the predator within you, because pain speaks in code, and only those who stop flinching long enough can hear what it's actually saying: adapt or vanish. They lied when they said healing means comfort. Real healing is violent. It tears the old version of you apart. It demands that you stand in the fire, watching everything unnecessary burn until only precision remains. Your pain isn't your enemy, it's the forge. Every betrayal becomes data. Every humiliation becomes armor. Every heartbreak becomes weaponry filed down and stored behind your silence. You begin to see patterns. The people who left you gave you distance. The ones who mocked you gave you focus. The moments that almost destroyed you, they were just rehearsals for the kind of control you'd need to survive what's coming next. That's how weaponization begins. You stop bleeding from wounds and start bleeding purpose through them. You start training your emotions like soldiers, each one given orders, boundaries, timing. Anger is no longer chaos, it's strategy. Grief becomes fuel. Loneliness becomes stealth. You learn to operate in silence because noise wastes energy. You learn patience because quick revenge is small revenge. The real kind takes years, and it arrives without warning in the form of your unshakable calm. Pain taught you that time is your ally, not your captor. And then something shifts. You begin to crave the sting, not out of self-destruction, but out of recognition. Pain becomes proof that you're still alive, still growing, still dangerous. You start engineering it. Controlled burns, small discomforts, deliberate challenges. Because you understand that luxury dulls and friction builds. You stop waiting for life to toughen you and start designing your own trials. Every night you walk back into the memories that broke you, not to relive them, but to mine them for strategy. You extract gold from suffering, insight from silence. There comes a point when even betrayal feels like a familiar guest. You greet it with composure because you've learned that anyone who can hurt you once has already revealed their blueprint. Pain no longer surprises you, it reports to you. You turn each experience into architecture, fortresses built from former weakness. The world sees your composure and calls it cold. They're wrong. It's not coldness, it's temperature control. Fire lives beneath, but you've learned to direct it, not drown in it. And now you understand the secret those before you died trying to grasp. Pain is not a curse, it's a compass. It doesn't chase you, it leads you. Every scar on your soul is proof you didn't just survive, you evolved. The next time it comes, don't flinch, let it in, let it shape, because the blade doesn't hate the fire, it needs it. You walk differently now. The ground recognizes you. There's no sound, no tremor, but everything shifts slightly when your presence enters the room. You've stopped announcing your intent, because power never explains. It watches, it calculates. You once moved fast, desperate for proof, words spilling like coins in a beggar's cup. Now, silence does the speaking. Your restraint unnerves them more than your aggression ever did. They feel it, the weight of a mind that no longer needs validation, only precision. You used to chase attention, now you let curiosity come to you. The weaker ones mistake your quiet for calm, but those who have truly seen the abyss sense the current underneath. It's not peace, it's pressure contained, violence disciplined, chaos domesticated. The world trains people to be predictable. You became unreadable. That's when the shift happened. Not when you spoke louder, but when you learned to say nothing. You became the pause between heartbeats, the stillness before a storm. Predator mode isn't about cruelty. It's about control. Over yourself first, then over everything else that moves. The ancient hunters understood this. The most dangerous animal is not the one with sharp teeth, but the one that knows when not to bite. Every reaction you suppress stores energy. Every insult you let pass builds leverage. You play long games now, games others can't even perceive. They think you've forgotten. You haven't. You've simply buried the blade in time itself, waiting for the right hour to draw it clean. Power isn't loud, it's surgical. When you act, it's not out of emotion but design. You give nothing for free, not even expressions. Every word is a transaction, every silence a message. You've learned to control perception, the true battlefield. Sometimes you let them think they've won. Sometimes you smile when they mock you. That's not weakness. That's patience sharpening itself against their arrogance. When the moment arrives, you don't raise your voice. You remove their footing with a sentence. Betrayal doesn't wound you anymore. It teaches. You catalog the motives, memorize the patterns, and build immunity. Every scar is a database, every failure a code. You've stopped asking why they hurt you. You ask why you allowed it. The answers turn your softness into steel. You realize that forgiveness without analysis is surrender. You don't seek revenge, you execute correction quietly, completely. Control has changed you. Your presence is colder now, but not cruel. You've become what they call heartless. But the truth is simpler. Your heart just stopped negotiating with the unworthy. You've outgrown chaos, outgrown begging for fairness. Fairness is for those who still believe in luck. You believe in leverage. You don't need to win every battle. You only need to make sure no one else can move without crossing your shadow. At night, you study silence. You watch how predators wait, unblinking, unhurried. You learn from them. The lion doesn't roar to prove dominance, it roars after the kill, when the outcome is already written. That's how you move now, invisible until necessary, absolute when revealed. You understand the old code. Dominance is not about destruction, it's about command, the unseen force that bends outcomes. You no longer chase opportunity, you become the condition for it. You walk differently now because you've stopped walking toward people. You make them walk toward you. You've stopped explaining your worth. Your absence does it louder. You've stopped performing strength. You radiate inevitability. The shift is irreversible. You're no longer pretending to be brave. You are patience disguised as calm, calculation disguised as mercy. And when you finally move, no one will see you coming. Only feel the air change before the end. War doesn't end with noise. It ends with silence, the kind that hums in your bones long after the battlefield has gone cold. You've stopped seeking validation from the applause of the weak. Now you move like a shadow that answers to no echo. Once you needed to be seen. Now your absence is what they notice. You've learned that real dominance doesn't roar. It waits, it watches, and when it moves, the world adjusts. The noise that used to pull you apart is now background static. Meaningless chatter from those still fighting for comfort while you hunt for clarity. The faces that once betrayed you no longer haunt you. They serve as quiet monuments to your evolution. Each one became a coordinate mapping where mercy ends and strategy begins. You stopped trying to be the good one. You became the necessary one. In your silence, they feel fear because silence is gravity. It pulls truth out of liars, weakness out of pretenders. You don't have to expose anyone anymore. Your stillness does it for you. You've turned pain into precision, betrayal into blueprint, fear into frequency. You move with the calm of someone who has seen every possible outcome and survived all of them. The war they built outside of you now exists inside you. But this time, you are the architect. You know when to speak, when to vanish, when to make the world think it has forgotten you, only to remind it that you never left. Power is quiet now. It doesn't scream. It watches from the dark and lets others guess where it sleeps. There's a strange peace in this cold mastery, a peace that doesn't smile, doesn't need to, because you understand what few ever will. The goal was never to win loudly. It was to end quietly, with no one realizing you already did. The old you chased justice. The new you embodies consequence. Those who betrayed you have already punished themselves by surviving long enough to see what you became. You no longer avenge, you correct. You don't destroy enemies. You let their choices do it for you. The nights are different now. The silence doesn't suffocate, it sharpens. You no longer fill it with distraction, with noise, with the endless pursuit of being understood. Understanding is irrelevant when you have become inevitable. You've mastered what the ancients called the invisible art, control without motion, power without display, revenge without touch. Every scar is now a scripture. Every silence a sermon. You walk through chaos untouched, because you no longer participate, you observe, calculate, and let the storm exhaust itself against your composure. In a world addicted to noise, you are extinction-level quiet. They sense it before they see you. That stillness, that certainty, they confuse it for peace, but it's something else. It's awareness sharpened to a blade. The mind they tried to dull became a weapon they'll never understand. You're no longer proving, no longer pleading. You've become what they feared most, someone who no longer needs anything from them. And when the world finally kneels, it won't be out of worship. It will be out of instinct. Comfort kills, silence wins, weakness bleeds. The war never ended. It just changed shape, and now it wears your reflection.